A very pleasant morning to all of you. Today we will learn to write report writing from advanced writing skills. Advanced writing skills, as you know, comprises B section of your question paper. And this is a long composition which comprises of 10 marks. But before I start talking about how to write a report, I want to tell you what are the learning objectives. Means, if a teacher is teaching you how to write a report, by the end of his class, the students must be able to know what is a report writing. They must understand what makes reports effective. They must know what are the structural components of a report, and they must write a well presented report based on the structural components. Now, actually, what is a report? Its definition can be: a report is an account prepared on a given subject, which is meant to transfer information from one person to another or from one group of people to another group. It can be based on information collected, examined, and arranged with a view to conveying it to someone with the writer's conclusion or remarks or suggestions. Report can be formal or official in presentation. This is a result of a request made or assignment given to the writer of the report. This is based on information got through observation and investigation for the benefit of others. Now, the structure of report. Report is usually structured under the following headings. First, the date has to be there. Date must be written on the left side of your question paper. Then in 2, we write the person, officer or the institution addressed. That is name and designation of the writer. The topic, purpose on which the report is being written. This will be the subject. Means, first on the left hand side, date has to be mentioned. On the right hand side, you have to write from, means who is writing the report. Then in the middle, in capital words, the subject of the report needs to be written. Then the introduction. The introduction tells a reader what the report is about. It introduces the topic of the report in context. It also introduces the date on which this observation was made or this incident has occurred. Means there are 2 dates to be written in report writing. One is at the top, the date on which the report is written. One is in the introduction, the very first line, means the date on which the incident occurred. The body of your report is a description of the findings and discussion of them. The body of the report shows what was done, how it was done, what the results were, and what conclusions and recommendations can be drawn. Also, it includes, means the conclusion. It summarizes the report as a whole, drawing inferences from the entire process about what has been found or decided and the impact of those findings and decisions. Now, the next will be the suggestions or recommendations. The recommendations are the direction or actions that you think must be taken or additional work that is needed to expand the knowledge obtained in your report. And last of all, your signature is required. It doesn't mean that you will put your sign. It is against the rule. You will just write ST and your name. Signature is not required here. Now, what is the final? As I told you, what is the structure of the report? No, the same I am telling you in the final layout. Means first you have written the date, then from, means this is for the editor of the newspaper Dawn, then from, who's writing this report, then the subject, then introduction is given. Introduction means, being a newspaper reporter, I have complied a number of reports on terrorism, load shedding, and smuggling in the notable newspaper of the country. These reports helped to bring a significant improvement in the society. In this report, I will shed light on the issue of drug addiction. This is just an example taken that the report on drug addiction is to be written. Now the next will be the summary or the conclusion and suggestions or recommendations if you want to give. Then as in the previous slide I show you signature, not actually the signature. ST means your name and the name of the newspaper of which you are the reporter. Now there are different stages of writing a report. These are 5 major stages of the report preparation. The first thing required is to get the data. Means if you are writing a report on the basis of some observation or on the basis of some place where you visited, you have to gather the data. Second one is to analyze and sort the results. Then outlining the report. Then outlining means rough graph of the report, and then writing the rough graph and then revising the rough draft. Now let me talk about the language. The language must be very clear, concise, and correct. Use only familiar words. Ambiguity must not be there. It must be written in such a way, because this is to be published in the newspaper and all the common folk must be able to read and to understand the words written in this report. Technical terms should be defined within the text. Active words for majority of the report must be used. So, as I told you, ambiguity, loaded words, clinches, for example, a can of worms, and jargon. These all must be avoided. Also, you have to avoid the superfluous words and phrases. For example, in order to in the event, that, if, such like words are to be avoided. You have to be very simple and concise and clear in writing your words. Tautology. Tautology means saying the same thing twice with different words in the same sentence. For example, the brevity of the notice given was far too short. Means brevity is also having the same meaning as short, so why the repetition of the words is there. Split infinitives, for example, to boldly go. Double negatives, not never, but sometimes they can be used here. Also, you have to avoid joining of two sentences which are not logically related. Means try to form small sentences using the simple language. Sentences ending with prepositions, for example, to put up with, must be avoided. Long sentences, as many times I told you, must be avoided. Professional report may have to be written in the third person. So if you are writing a professional report, first person and second person, no, it has to be written in third person. Now the types of reports. Reports can be of two types. One type can be written in past tense and another can be written in present tense. Past tense can be when you are writing a report for a newspaper, when you are writing a report for a magazine, and when you are writing a report to be read out in assembly. But in present tense, when you are describing some people, when you are giving the description of a place where already you have visited. So, in the nutshell, I want to tell you that a brief account of the report needs to be given, event that has already taken place. This is always whenever it is written, this is known as a report writing. First hand information means this must not be so that somebody else has seen the scene, he has narrated the scene to you, and you are writing the report. No. If you yourself were present at the scene, then only you can write a good report, because the facts must be accurate and true. These facts must be based on rational thinking, coherence, and justification. Now, I want to tell you about some tips of writing a report. The first process of report writing is to collect the information. And this information must be collected from people who were affected by the event. Then information should be organized in a logical manner. This will be your second step. Reported speech and passive form of expression must be written. You have to give some suggestions also to mitigate the problem. And lastly, you can give your opinions. You can add some facts in support of the incident which you are writing. So the first of all, after getting the information, collecting the information, you have to draft a rough sketch. Here you don't have to worry too much about the language, about the vocabulary, about the anything else. Just try to make a rough draft and then start writing it into different section. Then the next will be redrafting. Means once you have drafted into a rough manner, you have to review it, and then redrafting must be there in a refined manner. Think about the question. Now you have to think about the language. It must be accurate. Think about the sentence formation. There must be no mistake. And think about the paragraphs, because the report writing has to be divided into various paragraphs. Now you must also know about the division of marks here. This question in B section of advanced writing skills comprises of 10 marks. 10 marks are divided into 3 sections. One is format. This is a 1 mark, which includes only heading and the writer's name. Second is the content. This is a 4 marks. And third one is expression, 5 marks. Expression means there must be no grammatical mistake. Grammatical, it must be accurate. Appropriate words must be used, and spellings must also be correct. This will be of 2.5 marks. Then coherence and relevance of ideas and styles, again of 2.5 marks. Means 1 for format, 4 for content, and 5 for expression. Expression is again divided into 2 sections. Now lastly, I am taking a sample report. Suppose the question is, you are Ankit, staff reporter of a national daily. You were asked to cover a district science exhibition, mentioning all relevant details. Write a report. So how will you write a report? Let us see. First, the title is given. Science Holds India's Future, Kalam by Ankit. The date is not mentioned here. You can also add the date here on the left hand side. So the person who is writing the report can be given in the mid, or it can be given on the right hand side. The name of the person, or if this is for newspaper, then the newspaper's name can also be mentioned here. Then see the second date, Agra, September 20. It's science that holds a destiny of India's nature, says Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Inaugurating the district science exhibition here, Dr. Kalam said that students will have to study science for its own sake and not for becoming a doctor or an engineer. Now will be the second paragraph. The development of the country much depends on scientists who could help solve problems faced by the nation in different fields. The dream of every citizen to see India as a superpower will soon be fulfilled if the students' energy and enthusiasm are properly channelized, he said. The exhibition was organized under District Commissioner Agra. Trophies were awarded to the winners of the Inter-School Science Quiz 2015. So lastly, you can write your name and your designation. So if this name is written at the top, though it needs not to be written in the end, because repetition of the words is not required here. So with the last line, you can end up with the report. I am taking one more example here. You are Sanjay Sanjana, a reporter with the Indian Express. You witnessed an accident in a crowded market of Delhi. Write a report to be published in the newspaper. Invent the details. Word limit is 100 to 125 words. So the heading is given Fire Claims 20 Lives by Sanjana. You can add the name of the newspaper here also and the date of writing the report also. So I'm reading it out. New Delhi, January 10. A major fire due to cylinder blast in a roadside eatery broke out in Chandni Chowk area on Sunday evening at 7:15 p.m. The impact of the blast was so powerful that the roof of the building ripped apart, killing 10 people on the spot. Another 10 succumbed to injuries later in the night. The condition of 50 injured people is critical and they have been admitted in Ganga Hospital. Delhi government has announced to relief of 50,000 rupees to kin of those killed and 30,000 to kin those injured in the accident. A probe has been initiated, headed by the Chief Judicial Magistrate V.K. Singh. So this is just an example or two examples are given like this. Some other report can also be given and you have to follow the same sequence. For the home task, I am giving you a report to write. Suppose you are a newspaper reporter. Submit a report to the editor of your newspaper on ever-rising prices of items of daily use. Your report should cover the following aspects: rise in prices in recent months, causes of increase in prices, and lastly, give your suggestions to control over increasing prices. So this ends with our report writing process. And if you are writing in a proper way, following the proper format, there is no doubt that you are able to get 10 marks out of 10. This is not at all difficult. So thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you.